morning. It is 7 a.m. on Monday, November the 29th, overlooking Hong Kong's Victoria Harbour. Welcome to World Report. I'm Anjali Rao. Let's begin with a check of the top stories this morning. A growing uproar over secret US documents leaked and now published. Whistleblower website Wikileaks gave 250,000 cables to 5 major news organizations. The US is now in damage control mode. South Korea's president will. A lot of sensitive US documents are now in the hands of 5 news organizations who have been busy publishing revelations. One of those media outlets is the New York Times, and according to its report, some of the documents centered on Iran's nuclear program. They say Iran is attempting to convert North Korean rockets into long-range missiles, and that Saudi King Abdullah had urged the US to attack Iran. As for North Korea, the Times says there were documents dealing with its possible collapse. It appears US and South Korean diplomats mapped out a plan for a unified Korea. According to the Times and the documents, China hacked into Google's computer systems in that country, I should say. Or the papers say that Beijing also recruited a team of hackers to break into US government computers, those of Western allies, and the computers of US businesses. The papers also reveal suspicions of corruption within the Afghan government. Afghanistan's vice president reportedly once had $52 million on him when he arrived in the UAE for a visit. Well, the elite documents give the world unprecedented insight into the US government's foreign activities, as well as blunt views of foreign leaders. They cover just about every big issue of recent years. Atika Schubert is monitoring the revelations and the reaction to them from CNN London. Atika.
Well, the reaction here in Britain has already come from the Foreign Office here. They have condemned the release of these documents, saying it damages national interests. But as you mentioned, in addition to those 5 media partners, Wikileaks itself has actually already released the documents. And what's interesting is that it's sitting on more than 250,000 U.S. diplomatic cables, but it's chosen to release only 219 of them today. In fact, it says Wikileaks has said that they're going to release these documents in batches over the next few months. And the reason for that, they say, is because the sheer spread of these documents, both in terms of subject matter and just how far they're spread across the globe, requires more time for Wikileaks to review these documents. And so that's why they're putting them out in batches. And just to break down the numbers of what exactly is in these documents, more than half the documents, Wikileaks says, are unclassified. Many of them are classified as confidential, and about 15,000 documents are classified as secret. So what this does is these aren't any top secret documents, but they do give an unvarnished look at U.S. diplomacy in action, and it covers a range of years, mostly from the Bush administration, but also some from the Obama administration. In fact, there is one cable that was released in February of this year, and there's also historic cables, one of them dating from December 1966. And it really covers a huge range of topics, everything from, as you mentioned, concerns about Iran's nuclear program, to Chinese hackers, to also some, as you pointed out, unflattering portraits of world leaders. In fact, Der Spiegel, one of the media partners, says that the cable from the embassy in Berlin to the State Department says that described German Chancellor Angela Merkel as being rarely creative and avoids risk. So these are the kinds of embarrassing revelations that now U.S. embassies around the world are scrambling to try and soothe ruffled feathers.
Yes, the potential ramifications from all of this could be profound indeed. Atika Schubert, thank you very much. Well, CNN did not have advanced access to the documents because the company declined to sign a confidentiality agreement with Wikileaks. Andy Laren went through the documents and wrote about them for the New York Times. He joins us now on the line from New York. Andy, good to have you with us. So first of all, why did the New York Times decide to go with these documents?
Why did we decide to go with these documents? We looked at these at a multitude of levels. First off, we wanted to make sure that whatever we wrote about would never harm anybody. So we were very careful not to put anybody's name or reveal any situations that could endanger any lives, and we were scrupulous about that. We were also looking for things that were newsworthy, that were important to the American public and to the world at large. And so there were clearly revelatory insights in these documents that we thought were compelling and important for people to know about.
How, though, did you come to the conclusion that by publishing them, you wouldn't be endangering national security?
We've had interviews, my colleagues, and we've had interviews with people from the White House on down. We also have people who are very experienced going through looking at these kinds of records. It's certainly not the first time that the New York Times has published information that government officials have deemed classified. We've had a long history of doing that. When we obtain it and we believe that there's a national interest in publishing it, we've done it in the past, and I would imagine we would probably do that, make that same decision in the future when we obtain similar documents. So this is not a precedent by any means.
There is so much information that's been published now by Wikileaks. Of this current lot, which were the bits that particularly stood out to you as being notable?
It almost depends in which part of the world you have the most interest. Of course, what goes on in Iran is a huge interest. For those of your viewers who may be particularly focused with China and Southeast Asia, clearly there's information about computer viruses emanating from from China, excuse me, that we're also starting to see. Of course, $52 million being carried by Karzai's vice president. Again, it's not often you see things like that documented in government records. So it's all across the board. There's just so many areas that these cables provide insights.
Andy, really good to talk to you this morning. Thank you very much indeed. Andy Laren there. Well, meanwhile, the White House is blasting content provider Wikileaks for the documents dump, calling it reckless and dangerous. Press Secretary Robert Gibbs said by releasing stolen and classified documents, Wikileaks has put at risk not only the cause of human rights, but also the lives and work of these individuals. We condemn in the strongest terms the unauthorized disclosure of classified documents and sensitive national security information. We'll have more on the United States' reaction in a live report from Washington. That is in about half an hour from now.